Hello and welcome to At Home Times 3. I'm Matt Ralph, editor of BrotherlyGame.com, and I'm joined today by a couple guys who haven't really stopped playing soccer during the shutdown. They play pro club on FIFA, and they represent Atlantic City FC. And so I'm going to let them introduce yourselves, and just I guess to start, just say where you are, where you're from, and how you got connected with Atlantic City FC.
So I'll begin. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Tony Monge. My PSN name I go by as Crap and Shits. When people ask me where I got that from, it's the funniest story. I don't know if you've ever seen Impractical Jokers. There's an episode where they have to read funny names to an audience of people that have to go into a meeting. And in this episode specifically, it's Joe that has to read the name. No, it's actually Sal. And he's like, David? He's like, David Crapping Shits, and everyone's just like staring at him. It's like, what is this guy saying? So I thought it was just really like a really funny name. So you know what? I'm gonna use that. So that's what my PSN is. I'm from New Jersey. I'm originally from Costa Rica, but I'm from New Jersey. I've been here for like 20 years now, basically. Grew up first in Summit, and then now I'm in what's called Kenilworth. And I've been playing FIFA now since basically France '98, which is like a long time ago.
You're an OG, man.
And yeah, yep. I think that was from like, I don't remember if that was Nintendo 64 actually, or PlayStation was one of those. But yeah, it's been I think 22 years ago since I started playing FIFA. And I'll let Eric do your own intro, Eric.
Yeah, my name is Eric Carabez. I'm from the Chicagoland area, Palatine, Illinois. Currently living. And I've been playing FIFA actually longer than Tony has. I think my first FIFA was FIFA 94, way back on Sega Genesis.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was really young when I started playing. But pro clubs probably like 2 years now, 3 years maybe. So yeah, it's been a while.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
and then you also said about Atlantic City FC, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So what happened was, so the main admins for VPG is a platform that we all play on. So VPG is a platform where you go, you see your team schedules, you control your players, you see everything there, right? There are different platforms in which are third-party, basically, applications or websites that you can use to play. That they use to run these tournaments, right? So we play under what's called VPG, and basically what happened was the main admin for VPG asked me if I could run a league for him for Costa Rica, and I said yeah, because I'm the bridge between them who speak English and people who speak Spanish from Costa Rica. I can relate to both, and basically I was given the opportunity, and Eric ran it with me as well. So I met Eric probably about like 2 years ago, I think it was. Again, playing pro clubs as well. And ever since we became friends, we've been managing a couple different teams. And the admin for VPG asked us, hey, we have an esports team from New Jersey that are interested in getting, running into the league, playing pro clubs. And they asked me, and I was like, yeah, of course, I would love to do that. And basically that's how we got started with ACFC Esports.
What did you know about lower level soccer in the U.S. at that time, and what's it been like to kind of be part of a club that's really very ambitious? It's relatively new club still. This would have been their third season this summer in the eNPSL. What's it been like to be part of that and to kind of represent a club that's doing a lot of things in the soccer world, in the soccer space, particularly for the lower levels of soccer?
So for me, I have like heard of the lower leagues of U.S. soccer, but I guess I never really focused in to see how many teams are. I was surprised at how many teams are around the U.S. that have they're playing these leagues, and it was just blown away by it. And yeah, I mean, I've seen Atlantic City. I told Andrew and I told Eric the other day, actually, I was like, you know what? I want to start going to the games just to support. I just feel like, I think soccer here in the U.S. has grown a lot. and it's just great to see that there are teams, that are giving people the opportunity to do what they love doing, which is playing soccer.
So Eric, what's it like to sort of be connected with a club that's not close to home, that's out here in Atlantic City? What has it been like, kind of getting to know Tony and sort of have these relationships and these connections with people around the country and around the world through video game?
It's great, man. I mean, I've met people from like Tony, he's from Jersey. I've met people from New York, all over the US, and even from like Europe, South America, Mexico, who I would never, meet in person, but I know them through PlayStation and stuff. So I mean, it's great, networking and stuff. And I mean, me and Tony talk every day on a consistent basis and stuff. And being connected to Atlantic City, I mean, it's a great opportunity for us, and we're not taking it lightly either. Any way we could spread the word about the club, eNPSL, MPSL, we'll try to do it.
And yeah, I mean, you're playing FIFA 94. You don't really know anyone else who's playing at that point, right? I mean, there's no way with a console in the 90s to connect with people who are much like up the street, much less around the world.
Correct.
What's that been like to sort of see the evolution of the game and to see that you're now like you're friends with a guy, you're playing with him in Jersey, and all these people within this game, and obviously you're playing 11v11, so every game you're playing and interacting with a lot of people from a lot of different places around the country and around the world.
It's amazing, man. Like, you get to meet people, you get to learn how like quirky they are sometimes, how serious they are, how to push their buttons, like messing around with them. It's a fun time. But yeah, I mean, it's great, man. And me and Tony always, when as managers, we try to keep everything light. We're not really trying to, be too strict about anything. We just want everything to be running as smooth as possible. And I mean, Tony can agree with me on that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. One of the big aspects about pro clubs is you're not only meeting people that are, whether they're really good or okay gamers or just terrible, but also, when you're running a team, especially for us, we have a team that's competitive in a league that's very competitive. Um, and it's like, obviously, there are expectations. Like, we tell them, hey guys, so we have to, get to playoff spots, minimum. And it's funny because when you start seeing, like, when you start getting under pressure, you start to see players are like in real life, like just like in real life, people when they feel pressure, like sometimes they don't perform, or sometimes they do. It's the same thing. It's the same thing in pro clubs. You see players that will be asking for the ball, and they just, they make the plays, they do everything, and then there are players that you can tell they're nervous. Like a simple pass, and they think about it twice. So it's just really funny how it correlates one to the other.
What was the adjustment like for you guys when you got into that mode to sort of be playing, as you would a soccer game with 10 other people all sort of having a role playing as well?
I think the biggest thing is, or the funniest thing is, that in pro clubs, when I started, everybody wanted to be a striker. Everybody wanted to be a striker because everybody wants to score the goals, And then, but over time, at least within our team, like we have players that will literally only play defense. They love the aspect of it. Like myself, I play CDM midfield. I love that. I feel like in the team, I'm the engine, and it's funny because in real life, I started out as a striker. I would say I got bored of scoring goals. I felt like it was just I thought it was boring. So eventually, I moved down to playing cam, and I ended up playing CDM. So that's the thing I tell people. I had injuries in soccer, in real life soccer, and I feel like although I wasn't like very fast, but I played fast. I was thinking ahead of like what the plays were gonna be and all that, and and just how like I would play FIFA in real life. It's the way I play FIFA basically. At least in pro clubs, I try to replicate how I play. I feel like I have like the same mentality. Like I always play very calm. You know, I always tell the guys, hey, like, you know, if you guys feel like you can't, you know, make a right pass or anything, just look for me. I'll help you out. I try to be a leader, you know, especially me and Eric. We have to, you know, we're the leaders of the team, so we have to show that. You know, if we're playing in a high pressure game, we can't be, you know, falling under pressure and, you know, getting desperate. And it's the same thing in real life. You know, you can't, um, you don't see players, you know, getting desperate. And I try to imitate Xabi Alonso from Real Madrid. I love the way he played. He was very calm always. And same thing with like Tony Kroos. Tony Kroos is the same style. You never see them getting desperate or anything like that. They're always just very calm on the ball, and that's what I try to replicate.
What are some of the similarities you see? You know, you mentioned, you know, trying to be that leader and that calmness, but what are some of the other similarities you see between playing in pro club and playing, you know, your experience playing um, real soccer, IRL soccer, however we want
Yeah,
to refer to it?
A lot, because you got to communicate. Like defender, because naturally I'm a fullback. I play right back or left back on the team, and that's what I used to play in real life too. So when I play, I try to communicate with the whole defense, make sure, hey, somebody's coming in, somebody's attacking, just watch your back, stuff like that. Tony, he communicates from the midfield up to the strikers and stuff. So we always try to keep communication and make sure that we're all on the same page, and just try to keep everything as calm as possible, because it could get intense when you're in the middle of a game and score 0-0 or we're down 1-0. It just it could get intense.
yeah. There's a lot of similarities. Like Eric said, communication. Like for example, defense. And defense, like in real life, if one of your players is get caught in the back without watching the line, you know, they're not gonna call an offside. And it's the same thing in FIFA. If you get caught in the back, you know, or they'll beat you, you know, on the back, or same thing with the pressure. You know, sometimes when you're playing a very intense game, 1-0, if your team is not mentally prepared for that, it's gonna destroy you. You know, and you'll see like the style of play just change because everyone's just getting desperate. So it's very similar, very similar.
But in terms of the league setup, are there certain rivalries that have developed? Are there certain teams are going to do bring a certain tactic, and you have to sort of adjust based on what your knowledge of that team is and when you've played them before? And what's that like? Kind of the experience of playing out a schedule and playing game to game, and sort of how you kind of arrange things and prepare for those teams.
I mean, there is a community here in North America for pro clubs. So I mean, you kind of get like a lot of the names and the managers. You kind of get used to them, so you kind of know the style of play. One of them was Buffalo. We actually played them last night. We know how they play, but I mean, we lost 1-0, and those guys always give us a challenge. I don't know why, but they're a solid team, but they always give us a challenge, and we always, once you know the managers, you kind of know their style, because if they're known in the community, you kind of know how they play. Some of them like to play, quick and down the lines or down the middle. It's just a lot of just getting to know the people in the community that play.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised, but it's a lot of tactics, especially in pro clubs. You know, there's things that you can pick. For example, you can pick your formation, how you want to play. You know, the lineup. So we have teams that play a 4-3-3, for example. Teams that like to play a 4-2-3-1, or teams that like to play a 3-5-2. So then when you have teams like that, then for example, I like to study which formations counter which, you know, and then we always play a 4-2-3-1 because I feel like it's the most balanced formation. But I tell the teams, hey, we're playing a team that plays a 3-5-2. That means they have three center backs. They're not very fast. Center backs naturally in the game are not very fast compared to strikers. So what we do is we try to exploit having a striker with each center back, so that way they have to each stay on one, and we know in a race they're not going to catch up to them. And I mean, in a 3-5-2 is one of the hardest formations to play against. If you can master it, your team is going to dominate most of the time. It's just, but if you know how to counter that, then you can take advantage. But that all plays out in watching teams. And like Eric said, yeah, there's managers that we know from that we've known for a long time playing the community that we know how the teams play. And like Buffalo is one of them. Buffalo, we've known the manager and we play them in 2 different leagues. And every time we play them, it's always like a challenge. Always, 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 always.
The pandemic, the COVID pandemic, has that had an impact on what you guys have been doing? Do you feel like there's maybe more interest than before in this type of thing, or what have you kind of seen?
It's actually helped out pro clubs a lot, to be honest. I mean, it's a bad situation that we're all in, but it actually helped us because I think interest went up. eNPSL, shutting down their season got interest in esports. That a lot of people in the community have been trying for years to get on. And eNPSL was one of the ones that first, decided to make their own league, virtual league, esports league. So, I mean, it's been great, and I mean, I think the interest has gone way up in the last, couple months since this has happened. I mean, it's a bad situation because we were locked in, but I mean, interest has gone up like crazy. And I think Tony
I
would
think
agree with me on that.
yeah, and you know what else too? I feel like video games have been almost like a pastime for people. When everybody was, I think it's funny because when everybody was like, "Oh no, the lockdown," and we can't go out, and I don't know if this is me, but I feel like myself and all my friends that I play with and all the gamers, we were like, "This is great, man. I don't know what people are talking about. Like, I can stay home all day and do this." So for us, it was. I mean, the thing is that, like I said, it's like it's a way to get away from everything that's happening. It's a space where you can come and hang out with friends, talk about whatever you want, just have a good time, and not have to constantly be hearing about people passing away, unfortunately, and things like that. Um, and it's just been great to be able to see how the NPSL has basically given us a spotlight, to show the community of pro clubs, what it could be, basically.
What can you tell me about the team, just in general, and how you got the team together? I mean, I'm assuming people were kind of scattered all over.
I mean, we have players from everywhere. I think it's funny. I always tell people, like, I feel like our team is like the UN. We have players. We have a guy named Ben from Scotland. We have guys from Mexico. We have guys from Costa Rica. We have a guy from Aruba. We have guys from everywhere, and it's just like I said, it's fun to just see players from all over the country, and then from all over the world actually, and it's really funny because the guy from Scotland, Ben, speaks no Spanish at all. He's been playing with us for about a year and a half. He understands everything that we're saying in Spanish now. He understands everything. Yeah, it's so funny. And the same thing, it's for the guys that don't speak English. They hear us talking in English and they start picking up. It's this part, they understand everything, at least the soccer language of it. Like the soccer lingo, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's just been, Atlantic City has been a really great experience, to be honest. Really, really great experience.
Yeah, and there's something about that feels appropriate, right? I mean, if this was a bunch of suburban kids in New Jersey, it would be like what? This isn't because that's not how soccer teams are put together, right?
Definitely. I mean, like you said, when I used to play pickup soccer, we were playing guys everywhere, and that's the thing though. You didn't have to speak to them in their language. You have to speak English or Spanish or whatever it is they were speaking. But I mean, soccer is soccer. Everybody knows that language. Like I feel like everybody knows the soccer language, and if you know the soccer language, then and yes, it's true. Like that's, I feel like with Atlantic City, a lot of us became closer. And it's just really fun to just see how the team has developed from the beginning of the season to now. And again, back to the whole community thing, it's just like that. Like going on the weekends to play pickup soccer with a bunch of different guys. Same thing in pro clubs. There'll be days where, if you're bored, if none of your friends are, if none of your friends are online playing at that time, you'll just see in the community somebody post, "Hey guys, I have an open club, come in," and you go in, it's just players from everywhere. So I think it's really cool. Yeah.
So what do you guys do when you're not playing pro clubs, and how do you kind of manage that aspect of it? You're not getting paid to just play pro clubs all day. What's your life like aside from that, and how do you kind of manage your time in that respect?
You can go, Eric. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just I play pro clubs. I mean, I play other video games too, but I mean, I'm hanging out with family, friends. Like this weekend having a barbecue. Hanging out with my dad for Father's Day, stuff like that. Just try to keep your mind off of things, because also playing a lot of pro clubs consistently, it could get draining. So
Mm-hmm.
you just try to find activities outside of your house and outside of video games to like just get your mind off of things. Eventually. So that's what I like to do on my spare time.
Things that
Yeah, I
aren't
mean,
that don't involve being in front of a screen, I'm sure, right?
Yeah,
Give yourself a
exactly,
break from
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, same thing. Just hanging out with my dog, the family, or just well, before this whole epidemic happened, just going out to hang out with friends, to go watch soccer. It's especially. I think that's another thing that made pro clubs like kind of our go-to place these last couple months because of the whole COVID-19 thing. Because there's literally no sports to watch. There's nothing to watch. So it was like, well, you know, it was like we can just play this and that's about it because we really can't go out. Um, but yeah, I mean, besides that, I mean, yeah, same thing. Hanging out with friends, working. I do film and photography, so I like to go to places and just whether I'm filming like a small video or just taking photos, just it frees the mind basically. So it's a lot of fun.
Thanks for tuning in. This has been At Home Times 3. Appreciate my guests Tony and Eric for coming on. And definitely, if you guys want to let us know where the best way to check you out and to see some of your games in action.
Yeah, so we play, I believe, what is Eric? Every Monday and Wednesday, or Tuesday and Thursdays
Uh, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays and
for
Thursdays.
MPSL, right? So this is
NPSL.
how many games we play that we have to keep track of a schedule. But anyway, so yeah, guys, you can check us out every Tuesday and Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, and then the second game is at 11:15 p.m. Eastern time as well. Uh, you can go into the team's Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/ACFC Esports. You just put that into the little browser, and you guys will be able to watch our games. Make sure you guys follow the channel so that every time we go live, it will give you a notification like, hey, the team just went live, and you guys can come in and watch us. And I just want to give a big shout out to my team. I love all of you guys. You guys are awesome. And also to Andrew, thank you so much for giving the opportunities for us to play, represent you guys. Looking forward to seeing the actual team live. I can't wait until the season, until they play soccer, because I want to go see them live. I want to like show support. I feel like being part of the family now for the team. I'm like so much more like into it now. So it's just like fun. It's fun to support a team that it's not your typical Real Madrid or I mean like one of the big teams. So it's just fun.